Welcome friends, welcome back to the kitchen. So this weekend is Canadian Thanksgiving. Yes, Canada celebrates Thanksgiving, and we celebrate it on the second Monday in October, so earlier than American Thanksgiving. And because of COVID this year, Thanksgiving is going to be a little bit different for a lot of families, including ours. We're not going to have a big family celebration. It's going to be much smaller gatherings. And so I thought instead of doing a turkey like we always do, let's do a smoked reversed sear strip loin roast. So I've got this Packer strip loin. Now we don't have a lot of people coming this year, so I'm going to only cook about a third of this strip loin. The other 2/3 I'm going to cut up into smaller roasts, and I will vacuum pack those. Now, there's quite a bit of fat cap left on this New York strip. And there's two schools of thought about leaving this on or taking it off. One school of thought is you leave it on and it protects the roast while it's cooking. The other school of thought is you remove most of it and then you can get your flavorings right into the meat, the smokiness right into the meat, and the roast tastes better all the way through. I've done it both ways. Today I'm going to remove the fat cap. So we'll just peel it back, and you can just peel it back, quite a bit of it anyway, and get in and slice through this fat. Pretty much just peels right off. And then you get down to this spot here, and there's really not a whole lot of meat in this section. It's more fat. And so this piece I will render out for beef fat that I'll use other places in the kitchen for cooking. Now that I've got the fat cap off and that layer of sinew and silver skin, I can season this roast. Now I want to put a binder on first so that the seasoning will stick really well. And I've got a couple of choices. I could use beef tallow from previous roasts where I have rendered out the fat, or I could use bacon fat. And I think that's what I'm going to do today. So I'm going to put a good big dollop of bacon fat on the roast, and I'm going to rub it in all over. Now this will add some flavor, obviously, but it will mostly just be something that will stick our seasonings to. Okay, rub that in all over. It's going to be messy. That's okay. Cooking sometimes can be very messy. And I'm doing this on a baking tray just so that it doesn't get all over the counter. Baking trays are great for this sort of thing. Okay, wash my hands and we'll move on to the seasoning. For seasonings, I'm first going to use a salt and pepper blend, 60% pepper, 30% salt. And I'm sure you've heard it a million times on every channel and cooking show. Get the seasoning all over. And you want to be fairly generous with your seasoning as well. So get all the sides, and I'll keep one hand clean and one hand will get messy. And then I'm going to use our homemade Montreal steak spice mix. So get all the sides. Got a really good coating of seasoning on the outside of this roast, and I'd like to let it sit for at least 2 or 3 hours before I take it out to the barbecue. Ideally, I would have started this yesterday and left it in the fridge overnight, but I wasn't thinking ahead. So, into the fridge it goes for a couple of hours, and then I'm going to take it out for an hour, and then we'll take it out to the pellet grill. Now, while the roast is hanging out in the fridge, I've got these 2 little pots of creme fraiche. And if you can't find creme fraiche at the supermarket, it's super simple to make at home. I've got a recipe and I will try to link to it below. And I went out and I gathered some garlic chives from the garden. So I'm just going to slice these garlic chives up really fine. And I'm going to make 1 garlic chive sauce and 1 horseradish sauce. I think that should be enough. There's no exact science to this. This is completely to taste. So we'll open this one up. Okay, and we'll just mix the garlic chives in. And I like these little pots because I can reuse them later, but they also present really nicely at the table. So we'll just mix this in. Okay, so there's the first one with chives. The second one, I'm going to put in horseradish. Now, this is not a difficult task to do. I'm actually going to pour this out first. Found it's a little bit easier probably to mix it in a bowl than in the little pot. This is not something that's difficult to do, but it is that little added touch at the dinner table for a special meal that works out really well. And because we're doing this roast out on the Yoder pellet grill, there's not going to be any gravy. So I find a little bit of sauce just sort of helps everything come together. So once I get this all mixed together, I'll put it back in the pot, and I'll put those two little pots back in the fridge and let the flavors come together while the roast is resting and while it's cooking. So I've let the roast sit out at room temperature for about an hour, and I'm going to stick this Meter Plus internal thermometer into the roast. Now I've got the pellet grill preheated to 235 degrees Fahrenheit. If you're anywhere between 225 and 250, I think you're in the golden range for this type of cook. And I'm going to stick this on the top shelf close to the chimney. So I'm going to stick that on there, close the lid, and completely forget about it until the internal temperature reads about 120 degrees Fahrenheit. I don't want to keep opening the lid. I don't want to let the smoke out. I don't want to let the heat out. Don't look at it. Trust the thermometer. And then I pour the custard over top. Okay, so the temperature probe has let me know that the internal temperature on this has reached 120 degrees Fahrenheit. So we're going to pull it off. And tent it with some foil. Okay, so this is the part that I really don't like about this pellet grill, is how difficult it is to get ready to sear. I know that there is a searing package that you can buy for this grill that costs extra money, that has special grill grates and a special searing plate, blah, 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 blah. What I don't understand is, for how much money this thing costs, why couldn't they just include all of that? So, taking it apart, and I take out this diffusion tray. Turn this all the way to the top, get this thing cooking, and we'll put these grates back in. Now, we're gonna put this back in here over the flame, and we're gonna get a nice sear and a nice crust on the outside of this roast. We're not gonna walk away. We're not gonna leave it. We're not gonna close the lid. We're gonna watch it very closely. We just wanna sear it, and we don't wanna raise the temperature. Okay.
Hello, friends.
So the roast has rested, and it's looking pretty good. We got some good color on the
smells
outside.
great.
I've made two sauces to go with this. Can you grab them
Okay.
out? So I did this to a resting temperature of about 127, 128 degrees Fahrenheit. I think we should be somewhere around rare, medium rare. So we'll get the first slice off the end here.
The very best one.
I know. Look, it's covered in so much stuff. Cooked a little more than I might like, but it's not too bad. That is one of the problems of cooking 4 things and dealing with the camera and dealing with the sound and moving equipment in and out and being out at the...
I'm still happy with what is sitting here, Glenn.
I know.
And thankful for all of it. I'm actually super excited about trying these sauces you have. I smelled that one is chives. I see one's chives, and I smell that one's horseradish.
Horseradish, yeah. So I'm going to try the beef on its own first and then with one of the sauces. Okay, so that outside is super peppery. And it's got loaded with flavor. It's got a really nice sear on it, too.
Just the way I like it.
Yeah. So which sauce do you want?
Well, horseradish, of course.
Okay, a little bit of horseradish sauce for you,
Thank you.
and a little bit for me,
Perfect.
and away we go. Oh, that's really good. Creme fraiche and horseradish.
I'm super surprised because, of course, I love horseradish.
I love that sting.
And I love and so I was a little concerned that when you'd mix it with this creme fraiche, that it would weaken that powerful feel of horseradish when you combine it with meats. But it's still really good. I like that. And the creamy is kind of fun.
So I think that is an excellent second place to a turkey on Thanksgiving. I still really like turkey, but it just didn't make sense to cook one this year
A whole turkey is a lot of turkey.
for 2 people. So, come back for, I guess we'll do pie next. And then we're going to do the tomato aspic. And we've already done this broccoli cheese thing. Absolutely fantastic. And so happy Thanksgiving to all of our Canadian friends. Enjoy your day with your family as you can. Thanks for stopping by. See you again soon.
Take care.